So here we are on our backs. Welcome. And take a moment, maybe with just lying on your back, maybe even legs extended, just to soak up the feeling of support under you. Just melt, let your body melt into it. Feel it under your shoulders, perhaps under your rib cage. Maybe even notice how much of your rib cage is relaxing into the floor. And then your butt and your legs. Your arms are just melting into the floor as well. Soft. And maybe just take a moment to check out how comfortable your head is lying on the floor. You might want to bring your chin down just a little bit to lengthen the back of your neck a bit. And then let your head roll softly to one side. Inhale it back to center, softly to the other. Just with your breath, so slowing it down with each breath as you exhale to the side, inhale to the center, exhale to the other side, and inhale back to center. Once more, exhale to one side, inhale to center, exhale to the other side. And then slide one foot and then the other in. So they're just about hip distance apart on the floor. And then just let the knees kind of ease side to side. And again, slow and deepen the breath as you do this. So as you drop them, it's a deep exhale, long and slow. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale back to center. Just side to side, slowly, a few times. And then reach down with one hand and then the other and bring those knees in towards your chest. Just notice how close they come or don't come. Don't force. And then ease them away and just use your hands to guide your legs in circles. So you're giving yourself a nice little massage in your lower back. And you can choose like how big you want to make your circles. It can go around the edges, kind of. And you'll notice that your upper back is also rolling when you make those circles really big. Or you can keep the circles or try making them super small. And just feel that massage in that one place just above your tailbone. And then let those feet come to the floor for a moment and let your arms just float up and kind of float around as if they were just being blown in the wind like balloons. And maybe rotate the hands around the wrists. And then the elbows. So you're circling from the elbows. Ooh. And then bring your fingertips to your shoulders and circle the elbows some more. So now you're really engaging the shoulders. See if you can sweep those arms along the floor or as close to it as they comfortably come. And then bring them up and see if you could bring your elbows toward each other. So again, you're still breathing deep as you do this. And you're opening your upper back in one direction. And then you drop the arms down by your side. So you keep the lower arms reaching up, but you're pressing in. And just press in so much that you feel your back lift between your shoulder blades. And then, ease it all the way down. And let those arms relax again. Maybe stretch them a little further out to the side. And step your feet a little further apart, like the width of your mat. And drop the knees to one side. Inhale back to center. Exhale them to the other side. Now you're encouraging your spine to lengthen with each part of this. As you press the knees toward the floor on one side, and then inhale to center and press them toward the floor on the other side. So the next time, say you press them toward the right, let your left arm reach for the sky from, not the sky, but along the rug or along the mat. Nice stretch, lengthening that whole spine and up through your arm. And then super relax that arm and bring the legs back to center. And other side. And now the arm that's away from the legs goes up toward the sky, up toward the top of the rug, and stretches. Whoa. Good morning, body. And just see about bringing the legs in a little closer. Just walk them in a little closer. And maybe just put the weight on one foot and then the other, so your lower back is oozing back and forth. And take a moment. Now your knees are bent, so it's not quite like when we first started, but just notice how your body is relaxing into the floor. What I'm feeling is a lot more contact through my rib cage than before, which feels really good because we want to have that curve right above the butt that goes in, but it's really nice if the rest of the spine, the upper rib cage, can relax into the floor. And now just one hand behind one knee, one hand behind the other, and squeeze them in again for a moment, only as far as is comfortable. And then let that left foot drop to the floor and that left leg stretch out long. You're still holding on to the right. And begin to guide that right leg in circles right from the hip joint. Good to have your left hand on your left hip bone there or your hip so that you're not rolling your whole body. You're just lubricating that hip joint. And at some point, pause and reverse directions. Yeah. And then bring your hands behind your thigh, really low down, and let the lower leg just hang from the knee and begin to circle the foot around the ankle as if you were drawing a big circle in the air, trying to make the circle as large as you can. Your big toe is like a pencil. And then let that relax a second and reverse direction. And next, straighten that leg as much as you can. And then let the heel fall back toward the butt. A few times with the deep inhale, stretch. Exhale, relax. Just let it fall back by itself. Maybe one more of those. And then slide your hand up the back of the leg close to the knee and draw that leg in to your body. Inhale it away and exhale it in. Inhale away, exhale in. And the next time you bring it in, bring it toward the center of your chest. Very different stretch in that hip. And then away and towards your shoulder. Ooh. And then one more time, straight in. Notice if it's getting easier. And then just let it hang in the air. And bring your left hand across, snuggle your right shoulder into the floor, and draw that leg across your body. Find a spot for the foot to rest on. And just notice the stretch up the outside of that thigh and the rotation of your spine. So you can just stay wherever you ended up if it's comfortable, or you can use your hand to just bring a little more pressure and then release. So maybe you're doing this with your breath. As you inhale, you press a little bit to go a little further. And as you exhale, you totally let that go again. Or you can take your hand and stroke from the butt down the thigh. It's just a tiny bit of pressure if it feels good. And then bring your hand under that thigh. And bring the foot across to the inside of the other leg and drop that knee out to the right. And again, if you want, you could kind of stroke down the inner thigh to help it open and relax. And then let it lift up and slide the left foot in. 2, reach down for the backs of those thighs and bring them both in. Noticing any differences that you might feel, however subtle, between them. And inhale them away. Exhale them in. Couple more times. And then drop the right foot to the floor and stretch out that right leg really long. Press out through the heel and let the leg rest. And with both hands behind the left leg, just bring it in once. Notice how it feels. Never force it to come further than it wants to. And then let it ease out. Drop your right hand to your right hip point to keep your back flat and begin to guide that left leg in circles with your left hand. Letting the circles gradually grow if it's comfortable to do so. You might hear those little hip mices making little clicking sounds. And then reverse direction. And then bring your hands low on your thigh. And let the lower leg just hang a moment. You all know this by heart. And begin to circle the left foot around the ankle. Again, making those circles as large as is comfortable. And at some point, pause and reverse direction. And then let that go. And straighten that leg for a moment. Not really straight, but pushing towards straight by pushing out through your heel. And then, let it drop back. Couple more times. Really feel the stretch up the back of the leg. And feel the release of letting it go. And then slide the hands up the back of that leg and draw it in. Notice it, maybe it's coming a little easier now, maybe not. Inhale it away, exhale it in. Inhale away, exhale in. One more time, just straight in. And then the next time you bring it toward the center of your chest for an extra stretch in the outer hip. And ease it away. And then towards your shoulder. For an extra stretch on the inside. And away. And then one more time, straight in. And then just letting it hang in the air. Bring your right hand across to draw the knee across your body and find a place for the foot to relax. And just allow that, either that hand to be a slight weight on the leg, or you can kind of pet your leg, Start at the hip and slide the hand down the leg, maybe with a little pressure, maybe not. Notice what works for you. And then hand under the thigh, slowly roll onto your back, bring the foot to the inside of the right leg, and drop that left knee out to the side. Again, you could use your hand to kind of stroke down the inside of the leg. No need to bring it to the floor, just to let it open. And then use your hand to lift it up, perhaps. Slide the other leg in now. And bring your hands behind those thighs. Bring them both in. Notice if they're a little more comfortable with this than before. Inhale them away and exhale them in again. This is also great for digestion. It's actually called the wind relieving pose. And then just let your feet come back to the floor and bring your arms in closer to your sides, palms down, pressing gently into the floor. And kind of rock your spine a little bit. Press your waist in and then roll towards your tailbone, waist, tailbone, a couple of times. And then the next time you press that waist in, just engage your legs, pressing into your feet, and peel your spine gradually away from the floor. Just holding up there for a moment. Notice if you can come far enough up so that you feel a stretch down the fronts of your legs, the tops of your legs. And then very gradually see about rolling down again, as if you could bring one piece of your spine at a time down, really giving the spine a massage. And maybe just a couple more times, see about rolling up the same way, one vertebrae at a time. It's probably impossible, but as a goal, it brings more flexibility into your spine. And then, no hurry, but next time you find yourself down, just let your knees wobble side to side a few times, noticing if maybe they move more easily than they did at the beginning. And then roll all the way over on your side, using your arm as a pillow, and appreciating yourself for having opened up your body. Oh, mind and spirit. And press your hands into the floor to bring yourself up to sitting. So those same muscles you just relaxed don't start having to engage right away. And I highly recommend having a drink from your water bottle. And then as you find your comfortable sitting position, where you can feel your sitting bones connecting with the floor and your spine lengthening up from that place, maybe just let your body circle around those nicely warmed up hips for a moment. And then reverse. And then coming to stillness with that nice long spine, shoulders dropping away from the ears. Bringing your hands into prayer position for 3 Om breaths. So inhaling the arms up the center and Om. And again, Om. surrounding the body with healing energy. And perhaps with the next dome, sending some of it out. Oh. And releasing those legs. Oh, let those knees bounce a little bit. Flip the feet in and out a few times. Ah, can you get your big toes to touch and then reach back toward the floor? Yay. The legs like rolling too. And then bending the knees, feet on the floor. And just your hands are behind you. We do this all the time, so you know it. Collapse into your arms, letting them support you and letting the back round and the shoulders hunch up to the ears. And inhale the next time. Stretch the chest wide open and forward. And then exhale into that roundness again. Ooh. Just a few of these deep, deep, full breaths here with movement. And checking in with yourself if you'd like on the next breath in. You could also lift your butt, upside down table, and back to the floor and around. And lift and ease down. And then maybe feet a little further apart. And bring your hands in a little closer to have your spine long. And just let the knees drop to one side. And inhale back to center and exhale them to the other side. So just letting them drop side to side. Noticing as you do this if maybe they begin to be comfortable going a little further or not. And then no hurry, but next time they drop to the right, just bring your right hand to your waist, ease it forward a little, and then drop it way back and look over your left shoulder. And then ease it forward, back and look over the shoulder. Forward just slightly. Maybe you're going forward a little bit more each time. But you're going back to look over your shoulder. And then the next time you bring forward, just guide your pelvis and then your waist, and then your ribs, and then your chest to circle behind you. The hand is still supporting you here. And notice what your body wants here. Does it want to hold? Or does it want to ease out a little bit and then ease back in? Taking it very easy and really, really listening to your body. Maybe it doesn't want to do much of this at all, and that's fine, because it's the expert. And then gradually, slowly see about coming out. Your chest turns, your waist turns, and finally your butt drops back to the floor. And the knees just wobble side to side again a few times. And then they drop to the left. And the right hand comes to your hip. And it eases it forward just a little bit. And then you look back over that left shoulder. And then ease forward and back with nice, deep, full breaths. One more time, looking over your shoulder. And this time, as you press forward, consciously turn your hips, then your waist, then your ribs, then your chest. Oh, checking in. How far does your body want to go? You've got that hand behind you, allowing your body to be very long as you do this, so that you can either ease in and out of this or hold. Listen to your body for what feels best for it. And maybe just nod your head side to side a little to make sure it doesn't try to pull you into this. This is just your body effortlessly rotating around the spine. And the next deep breath, slowly begin to come out. Head, chest, ribs, waist, and finally all the way out. And you're going to just bring your hands under your thighs for a moment. And imagine you could wrap your arms around your thighs and just press your belly against them, inviting the lower back to lengthen and soften here. Ooh. And then we're going to engage those muscles by leaning back a little bit. And this could be plenty. You're drawing your abdomen up and in, your ribs toward each other. So you're using your core strength here. And if you don't feel like it's enough, you can bring a leg up. Oh, or you could bring one leg up at a time. Or you could bring both legs up. But only do what's comfortable. Just leaning back like this with your feet still on the floor is plenty. So don't force. Don't ask more than your body's up for today. And then bring your feet to the floor. And for a moment, just really stretch your chest forward. Open it wide. Ooh. And before you go down onto to all fours, take another drink. As I always mention, you're releasing all kinds of stuff that's been stuck in your joints, and you want to drink a lot in order to let it get right on out of your body. So you're coming onto all fours. Oh, and maybe just circle your butt for a moment, just to get comfortable here. Whoa. And then let your feet pop out to one side and then turn your head and shoulders toward them. Making a little C curve with your body from one side to the other. And inhale back to center. Feet pop out the other way. Turning head and shoulders that way. A little stretch for the side. And back to center. I'm going to do it a second time, planning to stay. So feet out to the first side, head and shoulders turn that way. Take a nice deep inhale here. And a nice deep exhale. And back to center. And same thing to the other side. Exhaling into it maybe. Then taking a nice deep inhale. And a second nice deep exhale. And inhaling back to center. Now into yet another way to move the spine. So check to see if your knees are just about parallel to each other. Your fingers are nice and wide, and you can even come up on your fingertips just to feel that you're not overusing your wrist here. And just notice if you bring part of the hand down again to not put too much weight on the wrists. So most of the weight is in the hands, especially the knuckles. And then next, exhale, rounding into cat stretch. Letting your head just drop between your shoulders. And as you inhale, your head stretches forward, your chest opens wide like a big smile. And then as you exhale, back into cat. So just easing in and out slowly. And that's plenty, but if you want to do a little bit more, you could, as you round your back, drop your butt back towards your heels. And then as you inhale, bring your chest forward and through. So maybe a couple of those, or maybe just a couple more cat dogs. Ta-da. And next time you find yourself just in between those two poses, maybe wag your tail a little. And then see about stretching your right leg back. Really stretch. Reach it as far back as you can. And then as you exhale, just bring it in towards your forehead. And then stretch again. 2 more times. And bring it down and take a break. Maybe knees a little further apart and drop your hips back. And this way you can just lift your hands, your elbows are on the floor. You can kind of circle them around the wrist and open and close them. And ease back. And you know what's coming next. This time the left leg is going to lift it, stretch way back, and then exhale in towards your nose, and stretch back again. One more time. And then easing down onto your belly. Ooh. You might want to support your forehead with your hands so that you can lie very straight and long on you. Feel your belly lifting and lowering you just slightly with each breath. Letting your body, which has been so engaged in movement, just soften here into the mat and floor. perhaps softening a little more with each breath. And then as you get ready to engage it, notice where your arms are. You're just going to very gently lift your chest a little and invite one elbow right under a shoulder and the other elbow right under the other shoulder. Sphinx pose. And just gently press those upper arms down, your fingers down, maybe spread them wide. And as you press those arms into the floor, you can pull towards you without moving them. And that's inviting again more length in the spine, more space between the vertebrae. And even as you do this, you can sort of ooze your upper body a little to one side and then the other. And then let that all go. Ease yourself down, maybe once again making a pillow for your head. Maybe rocking your hips a little side to side. And then slide your hands a little further back so your hands are directly under your shoulders and your elbows are pulling back and down. And your head comes to center. And then without actually using those hands and arms, just keeping them down, see about slowly peeling your face and chest away from the floor. Just coming up as high as is comfortable or only slightly challenging without pressing into your hands. And pressing into your hands enough, not to lift you, but to pull back through your hands so you're again inviting more length into your spine as you hold here, not holding the breath ever. You may feel like your inhale lifts you and your exhale lowers you. Whew. And then let it lower you all the way. Again, maybe hands under forehead and just bend your knees and let your feet swish side to side, relaxing your body even more on the floor. And then we'll try one more thing here. So slide the hands back under the shoulders again, and again you're pulling back through your elbows and sort of like pulling forward through the crown of your head, so adding more length into your whole spine. And then that slow lift of face and chest. And then press into the hands if that's comfortable and lift a little bit higher. Only as far as really feels okay for you. Ooh. And then easing all the way down again. And once again, just bend your knees and swish your legs side to side. And maybe take a moment then to straighten your legs and stretch one way back. Just lifting it enough to get a really good stretch. And then hands way under your shoulders. Lift up onto all fours just enough to separate your knees and drop your butt back towards your heels. Again, you really want to support your head here. Just letting the back lengthen and soften after engaging all the muscles in your back to lift yourself a moment ago. And then walk the hands forward a bit and get a nice puppy stretch where you pull back through your hips at the same nice long stretch through your arms and all the way down your spine to your tailbone. And then we have the usual option of maybe doing down dog or maybe substituting something else. So spread your fingers really wide and really bring your weight into your knuckles so that you're not overusing your wrists. And then curl your toes under and just gently lift your hips up and back. Generously bent knees. This is also meant to be a major back stretch from your tailbone right up through your neck. So you can stay a moment if it feels good. Or you can even walk your dog a little bit by pressing one heel a little bit more down and then the other. But if you've been up here, you might want to just drop your knees back down, drop your hips back to your heels, and rest a moment. And maybe open and close your hands to just relax those fingers and hands that have been holding you a moment ago. And then you're deciding how you'd like to come up to standing. It could be another down dog, followed by walking the legs, bending the knees so much that you walk them in and they come under your belly. And then you slowly ease up from there. Or it could be stepping one foot forward and using that to get yourself up. Oh, this is so exciting. Now I can see all of you a little more. So nice drink again. It's great to have some of you back who've been away. Wonderful. So let's gradually find, just going from foot to foot and rubbing the feet along the floor. Don't lift them. Rub them along your mat so you're stimulating the soles of your feet. And then find a place where the feet are parallel and pressing down, and your knees are soft. That you're lifting up through your belly, dropping your tailbone. And for a moment, bring those shoulders all the way up to the ears. Ease them in and just let them relax there. Maybe roll your head a little bit in that nice hammock you brought up. And then drop those shoulders down. And maybe notice that they go a little further down after you've invited them up. And then gently let your arms raise out from your sides. Turn your palms up and reach overhead for a moment. Ooh. Just feeling your body, every part supported by the part below, in alignment. Nice feeling. And maybe both arms still up, just hinge a little to one side. Oh. Inhale back to center. Hinge a little to the other side from the hip joint. And back to center. And then just let one arm ooze down and ooze over again. Maybe going a little further, maybe not. Maybe holding for a moment, or maybe coming part way up and then easing over again, or just coming part way up. Notice what your body wants. And then finally all the way up and let that arm drift down to your side. With your next inhale, the other arm reaches up and over. And again, checking out how far have you gone? How far are you comfortable going? Maybe coming up a little, maybe going over again, or maybe just coming up, finding the right place for you. And then next breath, easing on out of it. And then step your feet wide apart for a moment and just bring your hands right into the crease between your hips and your thighs and hinge forward with a nice long spine, as if you were reaching your head across the room and bringing your whole spine along for the ride. You can bend your knees a little and let yourself go a little further if that feels good. And then easing back up. And bringing your feet together. And bringing your heels of your hands right into your waist area and the rest of your hand down your back. And draw those elbows back toward each other, opening your chest really wide. Really feel that stretch across your chest. And that might even be all you want to do. Or you might want to let your hips go forward a bit, lifting your chest toward the sky. Oh. Just for a moment. And then easing all the way up again. Letting your arms hang heavy at your sides. And then letting them float forward. And just kind of float around. So you feel how soft the attachment to your shoulder can be. And then reach those arms around behind you. And you can either interlace them and then press your arms straight. Or if that doesn't work for you, to keep your arms really straight here, you may want to just bring your hands on your hips and pull back through your elbows again. But if you have your hands interlaced, just notice how high you can lift them. This is opening up your shoulders, opening up your chest, and then knees and hips generously bent here so you can hinge forward with a nice flat back. Pulling back through your arms as you stretch forward through your shoulders and the crown of your head. Maybe bending the knees a little deeper and then releasing them a little taller. Just notice if it feels good to move a little here. And then pulling back through those arms, oozing yourself all the way up And straightening the legs once you're there and letting the hands drop down for a rest against your butt. And then change the grip of your hands so the fingers change, the other thumb is on top. Notice how that doesn't feel as good, but that's why it's so good for you and your brain. So you lift those arms away again till you feel that real stretch across your chest. Knees and hips bend before you hinge forward with that nice long spine. Ooh. And then very slowly, still breathing deep all the time, bringing yourself slowly up, not straightening the legs and hips until you're all the way up. And once again, you let the hands come in for a landing, and then you just let them float out to the side. Notice if they kind of feel like there's little balloons under them that are keeping them from, well, I mean, you can always force them through, but it can feel like you. So, thinking a little bit about balance, I am going to bring in a chair. I always encourage chairs just for extra safety when we're balancing. So if the chair's here, you can just put one finger on it. You don't have to grip it like, oh, I see someone still has a Christmas tree. That's so nice. Dana. Okay, so it's going to be the leg that's away from the chair. So the one that's near the chair, really roll your foot on the floor. Press, lift your heel and press the front part of your foot in, and then put your heel down and kind of rub it a little. And then really bring your weight over that foot and slowly come up on the toes of the other foot and then lift the knee. And just let it hang there in the air. Ah. And then notice, can you still balance and let that leg go back behind you and your chest come forward? Ooh. And then slowly, once again, bring the knee forward and up. And maybe straighten that leg a little bit. Just needs to go back a little to counterbalance that. And then bring that foot to the floor. Notice how wonderful it is to have two of them. Ooh. So you can stay right where you are with your chair in the same position and just change the weight to the other leg. It might even be easier. So this time we're going to be on the foot that's away from the chair, so rub it a little bit. Press into the toes and then rub the heel a little. And gradually bring your weight over that leg. And the other thing that's really good is if you keep your eyes trained on one spot, so you're not being distracted. Coming up on the toes of the other foot now, and then slowly lifting that knee. And then very slowly bringing it behind you. And the more you bring it behind you, the more your chest needs to come forward to counterbalance. So you're really experiencing that need, how your body reacts in order to balance itself. And then the leg forward, maybe straightens a little, and comes down. Ooh. And let the chair be out of the way. And perhaps, let's see, how are we doing now? Grab a block and step your feet wide apart. Just hang in there for a moment, feeling the stretch in your inner thighs. Ooh. And then hinge forward and put that block down with your hand on it. Maybe both hands on it. Or you could have both blocks if you wanted. But you're pressing your butt back and reaching the crown of your head forward. So you have a very long, flat spine here. Then bring one hand onto the block and the other arm reaches up and around. Ooh. And then slowly comes back to the block. And you center the other hand, the hand you just lifted on the block, and the other one goes up and around. And a few more times, just going side to side and noticing gradually if your body eases into this more or even goes a little further. And next time you come down, just hang there for a moment. If you press your hands into the blocks, you can almost feel like you're pressing your butt back and pulling yourself forward so you're lengthening your spine. And then feet, heels, toes back together and come on up. And you might just keep that block where you can find it again. And let's see, we have time for one pose before we move into the ball for the feet. So let's just step the feet wide apart again. Turn the left toes out, right toes in. And then ease your hips around a little bit too, so you're facing that front leg. And bend that knee and let your arms reach up. You're holding your warrior pose here, and then just let it go. Arms ease down, shoulders soften, leg is straightening. And then ease back in. Notice if maybe you can come in a little more comfort the second time. Just holding for a moment. Never holding your breath, just holding the pose a little bit. And then gently let that front leg straighten. And with your hands on your hips, just ease forward for a moment over that straight front leg till you feel a nice stretch up the back of it. And then ease back up. And maybe take a little break by bringing heels and toes back together. Whew. And then stepping them wide apart again. And this time, right foot points forward, left foot in, turns lightly. Hips turn a bit toward the front foot. And then that front knee bends. Arms lift and then ease down. Rest a moment. Soft shoulders. And then once again, easing in and holding your warrior pose for a few breaths. And then easing out, straight front leg, hands come to your hips, and you just hinge forward a bit over that front leg, enough to feel a stretch up the back of it. But you're not rounding your back, you're just hinging forward from your hips. And then easing up. And bring those feet back in. And take your ball. And bring it down. And you want to start. See how far down I can get. By putting it right under this part of your foot, right in the center, on the inside, and just gently press just a little bit in. Press and release, just comfortably with your breath. And then slide your foot forward a little bit and keep your toes down so you can roll that ball under your heel. And gradually work forward so you're almost at your heel, and then go back to your heel again. And then bring the ball under your big toe. Not the big toe, but the knuckle of the big toe. And just roll on the ball, pressing down so you're going across that area. And you'll notice you have to come forward a little bit because your toes aren't straight across. Good. And then bring it under the big toe and slide the foot forward so you're pressing down. This is another place where it would be good to have a chair just so you could really focus on what you're doing with your foot. And then go to the next toe and slide back toward the heel and take the weight off as you come forward. And then just next toe, next toe, and finally the baby toe. You can see maybe your foot responding, the top of your foot, the rising as you do this. And then just a little scribbling on the bottom of your foot. Just move the ball a little bit all over the place. Pressing down as much as is comfortable for you. And then for the moment, you're going to let the ball go and just stand quietly for a moment and notice any differences in how your two legs feel. You've loosened some of the fascia in your body, and you can feel it sometimes all the way up into your hip and sometimes even up into your underarm. So ball goes back down now because the other foot is getting quite jealous, I think, And the first press is right on the inside of the arch there. And it's just kind of pressing and releasing a few times. And we sometimes do a more extensive one, but time is always an issue. And then bring the toes down and let the ball go back toward your heel. And you're pressing the toes in as you slide the foot side to side, so the ball is sliding side to side under your heel. And you can gradually move your foot forward so it gets all the way to your heel. And if you're lucky, it doesn't pop out. And then slowly ease back again. All your weight on your toes there. Except you're pressing down into that ball as well. And then bringing the ball right under the knuckle of your big toe. And pressing down as you cross over to your little toe. So the press is going right across, and if you look at the top of your foot, you may even see the skin moving there. It's kind of coming up. And then letting that movement go and bringing it again under the knuckle of the big toe and pressing forward so the ball slides all the way to your heel, and then releasing some of the weight to come back. And next, it's the next toe. And the next toe, from the toe to the heel. As much pressure as you can be comfortable doing. And you may see movement on the top of your foot in response. And then we're just going to go right into the scribble all over the foot. As much pressure as is comfortable for you. And let that go. And maybe pick up your ball and have it nearby so you can use it a little bit on your hands when we first lie down. But take a moment with the feet parallel to notice any changes in your feet, the soles of your feet, definitely. But notice if you also feel it a bit higher up. The release of some of that tight fascia that binds all around your body. And if you'd like, you could take one moment to just lift one foot a bit. And then a moment to lift the other foot a bit. See if there's any change. I think that's less likely than the feeling of release in the muscles. And from here, we're going to go right to the floor again. So whatever way works best for you. It's early because we're going to spend a little time on our hands while we lie on the floor. So don't lose your ball. And gently, as you ooze your body down to the floor, maybe let your knees a few times drop side to side, rotating the spine and massaging the back. And then as you find a comfortable position, just bring the ball between your hands, just in the palms, and press in and just circle it around. Draw circles on the insides of both your palms. And then use one hand to press it across the knuckles of the other hand. And then do the favor of using that hand to do it for the other hand. And make sure you bring the pressure in right under the thumb, where the thumb is attached. Using one hand to really press in that area. And then as always, you do that for the other hand. And then roll it, using one hand, roll it right on out the fingers. One finger at a time, the thumb, and then each finger. And then that hand needs to help the other hand roll it out the thumb. Roll it out the pointer. Roll it out the next finger. And the next. And finally the pinky. And then once again, scribble. Scribble them both. Scribble the roll between your hands. So you're getting scribbling on the insides of both hands, right up into the fingers. And finally, you can let your ball go. And think about coming into relaxation. Perhaps lying long, perhaps lengthening out the legs, maybe finding a blanket or socks to put back on. And maybe lying here with your palms up, feeling the sensitivity of your palms. If that's not comfortable for your arms, that's fine. You can bring your hands onto your belly or wherever is most comfortable. But gradually, let yourself feel the weight of your body sinking softly, comfortably into the mat. Shoulders getting heavy and soft. Maybe rolling the head very slightly side to side. Softly bringing the chin a little closer to the chest, perhaps, or bringing a pillow under the head. And then just allowing the face to soften. The chin drops away a little bit. Insides of the cheeks, softening, releasing, relaxing. Outsides of the cheeks and lips. And allowing that relaxation to roll up the face, over the eyes, inviting the eyes to become very round and soft, releasing any squeezing, so the eyes just float in their sockets. And then the same deep healing relaxation rolls over the forehead, the crown of the head, the sides, the back, and slowly pulls in the neck from all directions, softening, melting away any tension in the neck, and letting it roll further into the shoulders like warm liquid light, just moving through the muscles and bones, inviting deep healing relaxation. The shoulders, the upper arms, the elbows, the lower arms, the hands, maybe even letting the fingers wave a little, noticing if you still feel the softness of that ball that massaged your hands a moment ago, and letting that relaxation roll back up the arms, pull again in the chest, caressing all the internal organs, allowing the back to melt down into the support of the mat, the rib area, the waist area, the lower back, and everything closed there, softening, releasing, relaxing. The buttocks and the hip joints, soft, soft, relaxed and open. Thighs, soft, heavy, relaxed. Front, back, all around. And the knees especially, softening the knees, allowing the kneecap to just float over the knee. And the calves soften and melt into the floor, shins soften, ankles, tops of the feet, soles of the feet, softening, maybe even feeling almost a little vibrating there in both hands and feet, and just breathing in the relaxation there through your whole body.